when I read the abstracts of the titles, right? The future work, fusion teams and tribes. Why doesn't the mafia need HR? I need to know what you mean with that. A decentralized workplace, digital central culture shift. Holy macaroni. That's a big topic, right? Why choose a synthetic equity on blockchain over the stock of paper in rotating performance, right? Wow, that means you are actually thinking about to rechange the incentive model, right? If you could do that with tokenization, right? The role of performance in circular economy. I think that's the idea you had with pirates, right? That
Well,
you elaborate. And let me just finish the last couple of one, and then I have a
sure,
question for you.
sure, sure.
So I need to tell the listeners, there's more meat on the bone, and it covers the broad range on both skills, technology, on rethinking, right? Then the last two main, the conversion of business and technology and the well-being of the new GDP, right? So what did you actually mean with why doesn't the mafia need HR?
Sure. So yeah, the book is actually a journey, we want to immerse the reader into this, thought process that essentially is going to open some new perspectives. So the world is much bigger, than the place that we're born into. So one thing that I would really like to put on a table is that regardless of your current position, never stop moving, start evaluating your options, start thinking about alternatives. There is always an option, regardless of how good or how bad your current environment is. Whatever is good, it's not going to last forever. And same thing goes for the bad, Bad things don't last forever. So things will change. So be cognizant of these changes, try to predict and understand. We're placing our bets on the growth markets. There is a very, very, strong indicator from the macroeconomic perspective that growth markets hold the massive potential that will, be the future of business opportunities. So Latin America, Africa, Asia, the dominance of Europe and North America is obviously not going to disappear overnight, but it definitely will be a different place from what we are, used to in the 90s or early 2000s or, even, the contemporary times. So when you look at it from that perspective, you really need to be prepared to operate in a very different environment. So look at mafia, like they started in Sicily and now they have been thriving, for many decades in a new world. So what made them so successful, essentially, just to cut to the chase, and again, not sure how much, controversy we can introduce, let's stick with the PG-13. But ultimately, what made them so successful is their inherent avoidance of complexity. Complexity is extremely toxic to any organization. And in business, where the stakes are very high, that's even very going to be very, very, detrimental to their success. So first thing that really is important is you need to minimize the complexity of the organization. You need to minimize the tax on your business operations. So that will lead to cut out of any intermediaries. The message needs to trickle top down in a very concise and a very effective way. So mafia is a fairly flat organization. If you look at the job profiles of mafia, after, the head, you have capos and then, a few lieutenants and then soldiers. So it's no more than 4 organizational levels. And ultimately, what I was trying to message to our audience, HR is a representation of the bureaucracy. The way we look at the future, most of the work that is currently occupying HR professionals is going to be automated, delivered through ERP solutions in a self-service model through different applications, and it's going to be, very, very technology driven. the parts of the strategic work that HR is doing is definitely something that will have to be picked up by the line managers. So in terms of hiring, recruitment, development of the employees, succession, that's something that will have to land with the management, and they will have to take ownership and accountability. And that's what's ultimately going to drive the performance, where you start removing all the excuses why things are not the way they should be, and by empowering people to be accountable, and most importantly, to give them the necessary authority in balance with the accountability. So what does that mean? Don't expect me to deliver over the top results and then chain my hands. So yeah, I'm ready to go, and make things happen, but make sure that I have the necessary authority to make the right calls. So that's what's happening in criminal organizations. The other thing that really makes a difference in the underworld is incentives. Fair pay for the fair prey. So that's ultimately leading to equitable pay, because at the end of the day, if you really look at the mafia or pirate crews, in terms of the pay equity, they're very inclusive, they're very equitable in terms of the distribution of the pay. The amounts that go to the top leadership and soldiers is usually never more than ratio of 3. And ultimately, that's how they secure the loyalty and, most importantly, the performance within the organization. So those are some of the lessons learned. Again, just a caveat, we're not encouraging any criminal, activities here. We're just using some examples from these organizations that are very transferable and very applicable in the business world.